Hi everyone, it's Rachel back with another video here on Live Study Hacks. Today we'll be talking about sleep and its vital importance in our lives. Just a reminder, to help support our channel and charity, the children of incarcerated parents, please make sure to subscribe and like this video. More information about this charity and our donation is on my website link down below. So let's get on to the essential and the essence of this video. Sleep. Sleep is so important, and when I mean important, I'm not joking. It is as important in life as food, water, and air. Whether you're cramming for a test or a quiz or playing an instrument/sport, sleep may be that secret you need in order to succeed. Believe it or not, you spend a third of your life sleeping. So this brings us to the question that we're trying to answer. What is sleep and how is it important? First, we must look at our brain. There are millions and millions of tiny cells in our brains called neurons. The neurons send thousands of signals to each other every single second, even right now. These neurons line into patterns. These patterns often happen while you're sleeping. This is why it's so important to get enough hours of sleep. For example, these patterns occur when you first lie into bed. You have something called these alpha waves. They're fast-moving waves because you just started sleeping. But when your brain starts to sleep, these waves slow down to something called theta waves. So what happens exactly in your brain while you're sleeping? Why is it that our parents say that we have to get a good enough amount of sleep before a big exam or big test? According to Matthew Walker, a professor of neuroscience and psychology at UC Berkeley, talks about this idea, the idea of how information transfers in your brain. He says there's a hippocampus that sits in the right and left side of your brain, and it's sort of this informational inbox. He explains this analogy of the hippocampus being like a USB stick. This USB stick that's transferred to the cortex, which is another area in your brain, which is kind of like the hard drive. This happens all during your sleep. The hippocampus transfers a relevant information to your cortex so that it's long term. Another reason why sleep is important to our day-to-day lives is sleep is a replay. It helps cement memories inside our brain. When we sleep, we replay the same signature movements at a faster and speedier rate than when we are awake. Scientists have done experiments with looking at mice and seeing how they have repetition on their brain. This is one of the ways that sleep is so amazing in our lives. Another reason why sleep is what we need is because sleep has this sort of integration network solutions to problems. We actually kind of do the saying of sleeping on our problems because sleep can often provide solutions to the problems in our lives. And I know that I'm not the only one who experienced this. This happens during our REM sleep, which is a dream cycle in which we can dream and picture things to hear, see, and maybe feel, and look at problems in a more deeper and profound level. But I talked about sleep in regards to what it does in our brain. But what is in it for us? Why do we need a sleep? This whole Live Study Hacks channel is focused towards you, the middle school community, who is entering through the years of adolescence. While we enter through the years of adolescence, we get less and less sleep and shorter amount of time to sleep. Most adolescents get 4 hours in sleep, and it's almost intuitive to have less sleep the older we are in this adolescent time period. But this is not problem with us, it's almost like a biological shift in our time. In terms of the rhythm of our sleep, we almost like to go to bed later and wake up later. This is not sort of a choice in our lives, but it's driven inside of us to do such things. Most scientists talk about the issue of sleep and how it lumbers and disrupts the cycle of sleep in our adolescent period. And they often talk about having earlier school times and how they kind of are detrimental, and how most teenagers, and I think most of you guys can relate, prefer to wake up during the 9 to 10, and get educated around 11 in the morning, which is the natural time to observe information. And on the weekends, most teenagers, well, me too, think that there are hours to make up for sleep from the weekdays, from the lost sleep on the weekdays. And most parents, they see this and they pull up the kids' covers and they try to get their kids out of bed. And it says a lot of scientists. Very few teenagers are getting the sleep that they need. Almost 72% of parents believe that their kids are actually getting a good enough sleep. But only 11% of these teenagers, and I believe most of you, are actually getting actual sleep. So as live study hackers, I'm going to give you some advice on how to fix this sleep cycle, how to get enough sleep and to really maximize sleep in your life. And there's this model that I would like to share with you guys called the 2-process model of sleep regulation. And it shows why we feel more awake or tired at any given time. And it's a great model. You should probably check it out, search it up. And it just shows where the times that we're most focused and most alert. And this shows our circadian rhythm. The circadian rhythm drives to show where we are, where our awakeness is, and where your body, or for most teenagers, our body tells us that during the evening at 3 to 5 p.m. we should reach out for something like Diet Coke or Starbucks to keep us up and awake. And then there's the circadian nadir, which is the lowest place of alertness. There's often a misalignment in our circadian rhythm, which results in deficient sleep. So a misalignment of cognitive behavioral impairment for health outcomes. So essentially, we should look at this 2-process model to see what times are we active and kind of incorporate that into our schedule and make times for that and really focus. Adolescent sleep is often referred to as the perfect storm, and shift and delay and fall asleep and awake time all change with puberty results. Want to be we often want to be night owls. A shift of 2 hours with the time, most teenagers are able to now do risky things like sleep drives slowness, and however teens can not make them sleep before these 2 hours with the limited amount of screen time, like electronic devices, blue light, or stop procrastinating on homework and consumptions of caffeine and energy drinks. So then during the weekends we also have this ideology of social jet lag, and we kind of talk about how that social jet lag, we're often 2 hours later. We often sleep 2 hours after the regular time that most people sleep. So we should try to balance that up. And we also need 8 to 10 hours of sleep every single day. And one person calls this a C in a report card, because 8 to 10 hours is essential, and try to make sure that your schedule has that. Sleep behaviors often reduce executive function, having less sleep behavior often reduces executive function in our prefrontal cortex too. And having sleep can help with a reward-related and with negative risk-taking behaviors, not having enough sleep, like I mentioned before. And one of the leading causes to adolescent death is suicide. The more they go on the more they go on and more higher and higher grades. And this is because of a lot of less amount of sleep, the 6 or less hours, and this leads to depression in a lot of adolescents, and many 16 to 18-year-olds report drowsy driving. Another worrisome and detrimental side effects is the limited hours of sleep also kind of gain weight, like getting up late and skipping breakfast. So look, these are all really negative things, so make sure you're getting that amount of sleep. And it also makes people too tired to exercise, and there is again a correlation with sleep loss, with cardiovascular function and obesity. As stated before, even many educated scientists at Harvard believe that our school should start at 8:30 or later, and this is a circadian sweet spot in which teenagers can fully focus. But with live study hacks, we can't really do nothing to change school times, but we can develop a system in which we can get those 8 hours of sleep. Once we develop this system, we can develop positive actions with less absence rate and grades, improving in subjects like math, science, and English. And you believe it or not, sleep is what you need. And there's a bunch of other benefits too. Graduation rates can go higher, and standardized test scores will also be higher. And I would like to close this video with a few final tips. Sleep must happen at the same schedule. Don't change your schedule. Like, make sure you wake up the same time and sleep around the same time. And do light exercise, because exercise can make you have deep sleep. And avoid caffeine and nicotine. And even though we want to get those few hours to study, avoid it at all costs. And cell phone activities, and have a notepad in your sleep, and write your worries down, and worry about the issues that you have before going to sleep. And while going to bed, do not get any midnight snacks or read in the middle of the night or get a cell phone, and that can distract you. I hope you learned at the end of the day that sleep is important, and even though it's something that we don't really think about, we should definitely get our required 8 hours to maximize our potential in our middle and high school lives. Well, thanks for watching this video, and I really hope you found this video helpful. Please make sure to like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you. See you next time. Bye.